Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am doing my first deck profile here. I hope you guys like it. I took this deck over to locals, and I ended up winning. I went undefeated. So don't think of it as like, oh, this is a deck that's gonna be amazing, blah 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 blah, and it's gonna be in the next meta. It was just something I wanted to try out. I as you guys saw, I opened the box early. Wanted to go ahead and kind of make a deck profile on the deck that I ended up winning with, just because I think it's fun. I think it's hysterical. I think it's just loads of fun. You guys really should try if you get your hands on 4 Ragnaloardmon. Anyway, let's go ahead and start off with the deck profile. First off, we have our babies, Kaporimon and Kakinamon. I like to gain the extra memory on attack with Ragnaloardmon. Does it happen often? No. But because we have the jamming Greymon and the since we have the jamming Greymon in the deck, we don't really need to run the Kaporimon even at 2. But I prefer just to, again, for potential sake, we can definitely run the Kinemon at 4 if you want to. I mean, if you're running red, I would highly suggest waiting to build the deck, because I believe the next set is releasing the red version of the baby. So be on the lookout for that. Anyway, so let's go move on to rookies. I am changing up the rookie line. At first it was this Agurumon at 4, 4 Gatsumon, 1 Commandramon, and 4 Ludamon. Ludamon is basically Zunamon in this deck. It allows you to draw 2 cards once you just drop it for 3. And then Agurumon and Commandramon, I decided to run 5 2-ofs because I wanted that cheap, draw if I needed it. But I saw it a lot, but I'm like, you know what? I'm probably gonna take one out, this other one out, run 2 Toyagumon. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I really like the consistency of potentially having a reboot Rainiamon. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Gatsumon 4 blocker. You're literally giving yourself an extra 4 blockers in the deck. Why wouldn't you? It's fun. For you. For your opponent though, let's see here. So let's move on to our champions. We have Greymon, Gardramon at 4, and Teoludamon at 4, and also the Greymon is at 4 too, as well, as you can see right here. Greymon is such a good card in this deck. Well, I want to talk about that a little bit. Basically, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about not running Kakina, or running Kakinamon at 4 and not Kaporimon at 4. Kaporimon gives the extra 1000 attack. I saw Greymon 9 times out of all my 6 games that I played on Friday, Greymon was in my hand every single one of those games. You will not see Greymon in this deck. Greymon is fantastic unless you really break really hard, which one of my games I will tell you guys about here in a second. So, and I'll tell you who I played in the tournament as well. But yeah, Greymon gives it jamming. Why wouldn't you run it? You don't even need to run the, I mean, you can run the Teoludamon under, like, if you don't have the Greymon in hand. Teoludamon also a good choice. You control their board state, force them to utilize all their memory to re-digivolve back up into their megas and whatnot. It's so silly. It's super silly. Like I said, we ended up getting the box before, like, really early, so I was able to play a little bit of the Ragnaloardmon build. It was kind of jank because it only had 2, but being able to obtain the 4 was something I really needed. So but yeah, Gardramon, probably the best champion blocker in the game. Next, but until Shademon comes out in Battle of Omni, because Shademon is dumb. And once that time comes, If you haven't seen it yet, it's a security Digimon that's also a blocker, which is very, very strong in black. And it would probably get replaced if I kept updating this deck, which I most likely will. Like I said, I think I have a lot of fun with it. Gargemon will definitely be replaced for Shademon. And like I said, the only reason why Gargemon is one of the best in the game right now is that he's a 7k body. Why wouldn't you want a 7k body on your board? Block. Metal Greymon and Raiji Ludamon are ultimates, level 5s. Raiji Ludamon with the combination of Teal Ludamon, again, just controls your opponent's board, forces him to use that memory to digivolve back up. Metal Greymon at 4, sorry. Security attack +1. Hey, you want to do more damage to your opponent with a Ragnaloardmon? Puts it up to 3. Yeah, definitely worth putting in the deck. And especially evolving on top of a Ragnaloardmon, you could actually, in black, you could almost do the same thing if you were to play the red version. You just can't go to 5, which honestly, I don't really. In the red version, you're swinging at 5, you run into an Omnimon, guess what? You just lost all sorts of potential on the field to do anything. Yeah, you'll probably just involve on top of the Agumon that gives it the +1k, and or the Koromon that gives a +1k, or the Gigimon that gives a +1k, so you're at 16k. But again, it's going to be Gigimon, Agumon, and then you have to get into the other two plus him, plus the tie. Yeah, plus the tie. Which will give you 5 security, and or the Greymon if you want to play the Grey. Or no, it doesn't matter because they both have the security attack +1. So yeah, you have to have tie on board, which we will talk about here in a second. But yeah, so again, kind of things that you can do in both decks that people don't realize. I hear a lot of, oh, the red's the best color. No, it's not. Baraludramon and Brywiludramon. I think it's Brywiludramon. And then Durandamon, both at 3. I don't like it at 4. Too much. Kind of a dead draw. And I'll explain why here in a second because it happened in one of my games. Craniumon, not necessarily like having multiple copies of them, but I wanted to try it at 4. And when I initially played the deck, it just didn't work. It was just too many. And again, this was just a random game I was playing with a friend. This didn't work. It clogged the hand way too much. Which isn't technically not a bad thing. But again, I only had 4 Ragnaloardmon at the time. But I could see it still being a problem even at 4 Ragnaloardmon. Hell, even 4 Ragnaloardmon kind of clogs the hand. But it functions actually a lot better than I thought it would. That's why you play the Ludamon, so you're drawing into those, and not when you Digivolve, you're drawing into or when you Digivolve, you're drawing into something else, and not with and again, Ludamon draws into these guys. Your Digivolve will draw into something else. That's what I'm trying to say, and not multiple copies of these guys. Yeah, and then obviously Ragnaloardmon, the boss monster of the deck, so good, so dumb. The fact that you get, if you have both of these guys in hand, or even, that's another thing too. So if you have both of these guys in hand, or if you have 2 of the same copy in hand, you put it underneath, guess what? Woo, free Digivolve. Still a free Digivolution. Doesn't matter. Even though you don't get your piercing, still swing, free security. Super, super dumb. I'll go why. I'll talk about the 3 security in a second. If 3 security, if you have the Greymon, 3 security, you have the tie, 4 security if you have both. Craniumon protects your man. He protects your big boss boy from red and purple. Unfortunately, it does not protect from Shine Greymon. It does not protect from blue bounce back to hand, or green bounce to the bottom of the deck with Terrace Cluster shenanigans. Unfortunately, it doesn't protect from those, but there are cards if you want to add like Breath of the Gods to this deck instead of the Gaia Forces to give me more protection. You can. I like Terra Force. It's an extra optional removal spell because you're gonna have a red dude or the red tie on board most of the time. in Durandamon, Ragnaloardmon, or even tie. So to our tamers and options, we only play 2 of each. 2 Gaia Force, 2 tie. The deck is tight. We don't play the black tie because Ragnaloardmon is a red Digimon. I've seen people play the black tie. What are you doing? I don't understand. And it says, if all your red Digimon, red, with 4 more Digivolution cards again, security attack +1, red, black. Okay. Anyway, I think I got that down. Gaia Force. So 2 Gaia Force, optional removal. Honestly, if I'm starting to find the Gaia Force isn't working out for me as much, it will be cut completely out of the deck for 2 Breath of the Gods. Breath of the Gods basically protects, or yeah, I think Breath of the Gods is a card that ends up protecting your Digimon from being reduced down to 0. And yeah, if one of your Digimon gains reboot and this Digimon can't have its DP reduced to be returned to its owner's hand or deck until the end of your opponent's next turn. So yeah, it protects one of your Digimon. For 2 costs, that's not bad. If it protected all, that'd be broken. But and Gaia Force wouldn't be in the deck. So, but and again, I think, yeah, I just think you know, Breath of the Gods is also a good option if you don't have the Gaia Force, the extra Gaia Forces, or even the one card that says all your blockers and reboot dudes get security attack +1. It's like something blade. Hold on, might have it in here somewhere. I have all this entire stack here somewhere. But while I'm looking for it, B-Cyclone. Yeah, B-Cyclone. All your Digimon with blocker or reboot getting security attack +1 for the turn. So you can end up giving your Digimon, your Ragnaloardmon a security attack +5 if you want to go that route. So what is this deck's strengths and what is this deck weaknesses? Well, strengths I can't really test out yet, but as I think it's okay. So I think strengths, it's pretty good against red. I want to say it's fairly good against red Rookie Rush, just based off of what I've been playing against. And purple, I want to say purple. Yeah, we'll go with purple. Red because you can protect your dudes with Craniumon, bar none. Like red can't deal with it at all. It will, if depending on the blue person you're playing, if they're playing the weird discarded evolution sources, that will hurt the deck. And then with red, or sorry, not red, with green, it's a toss-up. I think it's kind of a neutral game, just basically who's able to do their things first I think will really win. Like for instance, Sarismon from set 1.5, you're allowed to, you know, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon to do it. So like, let's say you have the Ragnaloardmon on board, you go Sarismon, well, I'm gonna suspend your Ragnaloardmon to digivolve into my Sarismon. Okay, crap. So you know that they've dealt with it that way, and especially if they have a Boncho Stingmon on board, then that's when you're in trouble. However, if you already have your Ragnaloardmon on board before they can dig into Omega, which happened to my green opponent, which was my first round the other night, and he was the only one that I lost to in one of my games, is he wasn't able to dig, and so I got to the point where I had Ragnaloardmon and what's the champion's name, Teoludamon on the board, digivolving his stacks every single turn, and he just couldn't catch up. Even if he wanted to sit there and tap his rookies down, I was actually killing his rookies over his stacks as the source, because his rookies are the main reason why, you know, you're able to digivolve. I have a green deck Restoranimon profile that'll be fun. Post ban list, by the way. But yeah, so that's why I say green's kind of a mix up neutral. Striking Greymon will just poop on this deck. If Striking Greymon comes out on all, it could actually you can actually probably win against this deck with Shine Greymon. You're committing 4 of your 4,000 minuses onto Ragnaloardmon. However, if you have the Geo Greymon underneath, you only need to commit 3. If you are able to swing in with like an ultimate and it has Geo Greymon underneath, so that way you only need to commit 3 instead of 4. And then let's see. Again, it's kind of too early to even be talking about this, so I'm gonna kind of keep playing with this deck, see what happens and whatnot, and we'll go from there. Again, I don't know, I think I mentioned changes before. Only changes I would make for now is dropping this, adding 2 Toyagumon, and then if it comes down to it, removing Gaia Force with some more protection deck. For that, so let me go ahead and tell you guys who I was playing in my tournament real quick. Round 1 was a green, mostly built Ceresmon download deck at full power. Game 1 he got me. There was nothing I could do. He just kind of outrushed me a little bit. Game 2 though, I had enough blockers and enough presence on board and doing the Digivolve thing, it wasn't going well for him. He ended up playing Bancho Stigmon a couple times, trying to bait me out on the block, and it wasn't working. I knew what Bancho Stigmon does, so that's another thing too. Bancho Stigmon on the board and you want to block, don't do it. Don't do it. Just let the attack go through. It's one security and it's not worth it to sit there and sacrifice a Ragnaloardmon to that thing. Then especially when you would be losing 3 security potentially and and your best your stack. Then you have game 1 he just ended up outpacing me and just went around crazy. Game 2 it was Blocker City for him. He couldn't get past my blockers. Game 3 he didn't hit megas, unfortunate, and I ended up taking the win. Round 2 was Imperial Dramon. So game 1 hand was Pykemia, Gaia Force, Durandamon, Ragnaloardmon, and a Garchomon. You think I played this? I think these megas are so good. These are 12Ks with an inherit. I just threw it down. So I ended up just going turn 1, boom, throw it down. Okay, go ahead. I understand they're playing blue, but blue has one thing wrong with the deck entirely. Barely has any removal unless you're playing Omnimon. ET set 1 Omnimon. So I just threw it down. He has a problem to deal with now because I did that in a tournament not too long ago. I decided to play down a level a 6 cost card in a blue Omni compared to the 10 drop Placeomon that I had in hand, and I ended up losing the game because I made that decision. So I'm just give him a problem. Just give him a big problem at the level 6. Next turn literally evolved in Ragnaloardmon. He gave me 3. He could not recover. He ended up losing game 1, game 2. I ended up getting more of a better presence. He couldn't get around blockers. GG's for me. Game 3, round 3, good player. I love this guy that I ended up going against. He was playing Rookie Rush and he like lives and dies, and I swear he lives and dies by that deck, but it's okay. Like, it's a good deck. Don't knock it until you try it. He was playing again, green, blue, new Rookie Rush with some of the newer cards and everything. And with that being said, this deck will lose to Rookie Rush, but I think I had one too many blockers on board for presence that he couldn't get around both games. That he ended up putting me to like 1 or 0, like both, like 1 I think it was the first game, 0 the second game. I thought he was actually going to kill me like both games. I was expecting like some sort of double flower cannon, but in that deck I know not to give my opponent no more than about 2 to 3 memory. They'll have Hammer Sparks, they'll put themselves up to 5 or some shenanigans. I think the most I gave him in round 1 was 5 because I had to. And I just didn't have anything else to play. But I wanted to make sure that I had more blocker presence on board than he had rookies on board. That turn he wasn't even, and I based on how many cards he had in his hand too, I was okay doing it. He only had like 3, so I knew he wasn't just gonna puke the board with just rookies. That's another thing too. Look at your opponent's hand during rookie rush. If you think you can pull off a 10, throw down the 10, throw down the 10 memory. They most likely don't have a whole lot of stuff they can deal with it. But yeah, he ended up puppet bombing me a lot during those games, and I that's the reason why I thought I was gonna lose. But anyway, guys, thank you again so much for the support on the very first Digimon TCG video that I've done here on the channel. And I'm hoping that we see exact same support for this one, so I can keep doing this kind of stuff. It's really pumping me up. It's really keeping me motivated and whatnot. I appreciate you all. And I will see you all for the next deck profile, which will probably be a Ragnaloardmon deck profile. You guys don't want to miss that one. And I'll see you all in the next video. Laters! Bye!